video because, well, it's easy. I don't have to edit it, but it might be a little boring because I didn't tell anybody that I was going to do this, so I don't know who's going to join me for the live, if anybody, but you guys can always just rewatch the video, I guess. I'll post it like a normal video. But I figured I would just walk around and we can look at the tanks, and again, if anybody can join me live, that's awesome, but I don't expect much because it's just a random live video. But let's start over here. And I don't know if I'm even going to be able to read chat while we do this. Hunter, hi. Well, that answers that question. I guess I can. Gator Pools. Let's go. What's up, buddy? Dave, thanks, man. 603 living. What's up, man? It's going pretty well. How you doing? Hey, thank you guys for joining. I'm a little cramped here. I still got a bunch of boxes, but we can kind of see this tank. We got Wasabi begging for food. I don't know if there's really anything new in here. I haven't got much new the past few months. Sergeant right here. Thanks, man. Yeah, well, I figured I could get this up pretty easy. It's almost like a Lazy Man's video because I don't have to edit it. It's not almost like it. It's exactly what it is. So I figured I could at least get some content out there. Joe, thanks, man. Thanks for remembering me. You may have them raise a bit longer. I know, dude. I know. And not to say that they're like a burden or anything, but I would like to clear up some tank space someday. But whatever amount of time it takes them, I totally understand. I'm sure Kevin wants these guys back. But even once they find a place and start setting up, I mean, think about how long it's probably going to take them to get stable conditions to take big fish. I'm sure they can bring established filtration to a degree, but I don't know if Kevin can. They're all doing good. Those of you that have been like following along roughly with me the past few months, this was the female that was in the worst shape and that I actually thought was gonna die. I'm not gonna lie. She didn't eat for a very long time after she came in and she looked horrible, but she's doing excellent now. And I don't know if you guys remember when Rod and Kevin were packing these guys, but they clipped all the spikes on their tails to make sure that they didn't puncture bags. I did notice, as those have been healing up, for anybody interested, as those have been healing up, some of them have gotten infected. They've had a hard time healing, so like they're doing okay now. Most of them have grown back, but I do think that that was a problem clipping those. It seemed to negatively affect them. Whereas when you just clip the barbs, they don't seem to have as big of an issue. I don't know though. Award-winning Phantom. Yeah, dude. I should do a update video on that guy eventually. Maybe like a 1 year. I think my 1 year is coming up with him since he was, what, only like 2.5 inches? Bob, I think I won that, but I don't know. Never heard a official announcement. I think I won. Let's pretend. Rod's got a lot bigger things to worry about anyway. We don't really show the lungfish enough. It's because there's not much to see. Oh, we can show Nitro here. It's getting huge. It's a very fast growing turtle. I didn't expect that. Now he's gonna run away. I don't even think the camera really does him justice because he has just gotten way bigger. No, I don't keep any bichers. I don't. I never have. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Hello from Rhode Island. Ah, close by, man. You guys can't drive, but we do love Rhode Islanders. I'm only about 30 minutes from the border. Yeah, I've thought about another Firereel. I'm just not in the right place to do it right now. Trying to grow one out, trying to find a tank to put it in, it's a real pain. So the one I had only worked because he was so big and I could put him pretty much in any of the big tanks and he could handle his own. But from Los Angeles, thanks, Junior. Favorite local fish store? Oh man, I don't know. I don't really like any of them. No offense, but I would actually, I guess Lovely Pets in Kingston. They're not as big as they were when they were in Quincy, but they do a nice job. I like them. Oh, here's a story, a little update. So I got this guy like over a month ago, and he was in quarantine for a while. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna move him to the 600, and he was in there for like a day or two, and he started picking on my ripsaw cat, which is now in the back corner. So I had to move the ripsaw because he was not leaving him alone, and I think he was too small to put in any of the big tanks. I would just worry about him getting eaten by either the Phantom or the short body RTC. So this guy gets to stay, but I had to move my ripsaw. I didn't realize that they were aggressive. I had no clue. He's cool, but I don't know, he's kind of a pain. Oh yeah, the turtle's been doing really good in here. It's a lot more chill for him. I can feed him way easier. He does that a lot though. He just swims into the back wall, which is kind of annoying, but you know what? I got this guy. Little baby Planiceps. Some of you might remember my big one that I gave to Ohio Fish Rescue. I gave to Josh. Well, I decided to grow out another one. The last one I didn't grow out from this small anyway, so figured I would give it a shot with a little baby. Got him from Josh Tanks. I don't know how good the audio is, guys. I'm right by the fan, sorry. And my long-nosed gar are in here too. Hopefully we end up with another beast I missed my last Planiceps. It'd be great if this guy takes off. Turn this fan off. Yeah, as much as I'm enjoying the rays, I will be happy once they can go back, because it is just taking up a lot of space. It's like having a carpet of stingrays in here. They are beautiful. Assume this is some type of marble. Big hybrid loves this. I added filtration over here, and she just swims into it like all day. Jay, I bet it is expensive to feed all the rays. Yeah, it could be worse. I'm not feeding every single day. I would never be able to keep up with water quality and do that anyway. So I try to spread out. I'll do like a couple days in a row, 1 day off. I'll do like 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 2 days off type thing. I don't stick to it perfect, but that's generally my strategy with it. And I can't feed super heavy, but I try to feed enough so everything gets a little bit. And honestly, all of the rays have kind of fattened up a little bit, so I guess I'm feeding enough. And there's no real aggression, and there's a lot of males. So whatever, it's working, and it's not costing me a ton. Maybe $100 a week, something like that. I guess we'd have to ask my wife. She does the grocery shopping lately. Yeah, I'll do a feeding video. Eventually. I keep saying I'll do a lot of different videos, but I'll have to do another updated feeding video. Those are always fun. Actually, I think on Instagram I was saying I would do a live feeding video, and then I never did it. Look at all those rays. Oh my god. I've been looking at them for months and I still can't get over it. Back to the big tank. It's so bad. This is the most difficult fish to keep that I have, and I probably shouldn't have it. And I want more. I want more platinum alligator gars. It's so bad. I really have no business even having this one. I would love to have 3 of them. I gotta be careful because he's tried to bite me before. I've had really bad luck with peacock bass. I've tried growing them out multiple times. They always, well, I guess it's a cichlid thing really, but they always end up fighting each other and spooking and hurting themselves, hurting each other. Can't keep them together. You need like a big group. I got rid of, like, I tried a bunch of, I've tried Temensis, Panema, regular monos, Ocellaris. Tried a group together. I've just had really bad luck with them. So I guess to answer your question, I don't really have any interest in trying to keep peacock bass again. Maybe sometime in the future if I feel like I can grow out like a really large group together, like under ideal conditions. I don't know. Yeah, no. I mean, no gator gars anyway. Get them a smaller gar. Get them something that stays smaller. Get them a Florida gar. I mean, they still can get pretty large, but they take a lot longer. Yeah, I love arrows. Out of your 2 big tanks, which style do you prefer? Square or rectangular? I think I know what you mean. Like, prefer more of a breeder style footprint or like a long footprint. It depends on the fish. I think this is better for stingrays, and this is probably better for gar too. Just because gar are so long, they need more space to turn around. So the 10x6 kind of a little bit better for rays and gar, and then 16x5. It's harder for this guy to turn around. He's only 3 foot, and he's already difficult for him to turn around. And the rays, like they take up the whole floor of the tank pretty much. So I think the wider footprint is better for certain fish, and then other fish you can get away with it. Like the iridescent sharks may prefer this. They just have more room, more length, and they wouldn't really ever get too long where they would be uncomfortable turning around. But then you'd have the corners here. It's like this isn't really a rectangle. It's half of a hex. So, the corners would be really bad for the iridescent sharks. But in general, yeah, it just depends on the fish. Florida gar, how large? Well, this one's probably 20 inches. And that one's pretty old. I think this is like 5 or 6 years old, so it's not that bad. I mean, most people can reasonably keep Florida gar. I mean, I wouldn't put it in like a 125 for life, but you'd get a few years out of a 125. I mean, these ones have some years on them, and they're still pretty small. Yeah, cat's always following me around looking for attention.
She's like, don't stop, don't stop. He's like, how can I eat that cat? Don't go with the long nose because they get huge. That's like a 30-inch long nose, so I would say Florida Gar are the best way to go. Super easy to come by, pretty cheap. I have not kept a black, but they grow a lot slower, generally stay smaller. I've heard very, very few reports of like a 30-inch black. 24s are pretty common. 24-inch is pretty common, but it's not going to get like a silver. I mean, there's always outliers, good genetics, but for the most part, you're not going to see a black arowana get as big as a silver would. Your cat has fallen in the tanks. No, she hasn't. Well, I mean, she could drown, technically. That would be horrible. I haven't thought enough about it. Although I did notice the other day, she knocked this light down, so she is climbing on top of these tanks. But I don't think she would fall in. I'd worry more about the big tanks. I should probably worry more about it, really. Hopefully she's smarter than that. Probably not. Yeah, a black and a 180, that's pretty reasonable, actually. You should get some years out of it. Okay, that's a good question on the temperature. So, before I set this up, I run drips on this. It would be a lot easier if I wasn't dripping cold water into the big systems. Because the room, like, I'm not heating the room, the tanks are heating the room, and we're at 76. So I don't got to do much to get this to 80. So I do have titanium heaters in here, in the sump, that I basically only put on for like 3 months, just the colder months of the winter. And it's really just because I'm dripping cold water in there constantly. And in the winter, the tap water gets even colder. So I have to heat the tanks a little bit. It doesn't get super expensive. Like, my electric bill doesn't go up a lot. So it's not doing a ton. So the key is, like, keep the room as warm as you can. And if you have to supplement with heaters, there are ways to do it. You can just get large heaters. But this tank, I don't have to heat it all because the pump to run the filtration is so large, the pump heats the tank. And it'll actually overheat the tank to the point where in the summertime, I have to worry about it. So I have to try to keep this tank cold in the summer, where I literally dump bags of ice into this to keep the temp down. So that's kind of a pain. I'm trying to work on a system where maybe I can somehow add tanks that will help cool the system down, disperse the water a little bit better. But yeah, so really big pumps create a lot of heat, and it's plenty enough to heat this tank. And then what also helps for this system is I overflow this really warm water into here. So, like, even though I'm dripping cold water into this tank, it still stays at like 82, 83, unless I really turn up the tap, unless I drip a lot more water in. So it's dripping 83-degree water into this tank, which also helps in turn heat it. But yeah, that's my long answer to your question. There's a lot of ways to do it. But before I had the big tanks, I would just heat each tank individually, and you do see the electric bill go up. Hi from Germany. Thanks for joining. Any breeding action? So I do think that the female that was in the worst shape has been re-impregnated, but I don't know for sure. All I know is her hip bones don't show anymore, which is a good sign of health, but it also might be a sign of some pups brewing. And she's been in here a while. It's hard to say. She hasn't gotten super big in the hip area, so I don't know for sure, but possible. And then there's another female over here. Well, there's two. I isolated my marble hybrid because she was getting picked on pretty good by all the males, but I don't know if she's mature. So that was possible that she got impregnated. And then this female is questionable. She might be pregnant. I've been keeping an eye on her because she got really big in the hip area. So maybe. And it looks like I'll have them for another few months. So if she is, we'll find out. If she starts to get really large, I'm going to probably put her in a basket just in case. So if she did have pups, the pups wouldn't just be in the tank and get eaten by any of the fish. Hopefully I don't wait too long to do that. Fill. Place a pair of big fans on the tank. Yeah, so I run this fan, which is pretty big, and in the summer, yeah, I do pretty much exactly that. And then I run a couple of smaller fans, but I need a bunch more of these. That will help a lot. I agree. More big fans on the tank would help. How long could you have a silver arowana in a 100-gallon tank? You might get a year, but probably not. They grow really fast. I wouldn't recommend bothering unless you already have something bigger, because they just grow too fast. I don't do like traditional water changes on these tanks. In order to clean the filtration, I have to backwash it. So when I backwash filtration, I empty out around a couple 100 gallons on this tank and on that system. And then I let the drip system fill them back up. So that's my idea of a water change for these. Otherwise, it's constantly dripping fresh water in, so I don't have to do a traditional water change on that. On these two tanks, I still do regular water changes, and I tend to just drop them about 30%. And I do that sometimes I'll do it once a week, sometimes I'll do it once every other week. It depends on how I feel like I've been feeding, how heavily I've been feeding the tanks. But for the most part, 30% water changes on these two about once a week. Ideal fish for a 120. Oh, good. I'm glad you put that footprint. So, because it's only a 4-footer, I would do... Actually, that's a tough one. I don't know. I like monster fish too much. Let's go look at smaller fish and think about this. I would say you could do tinfoil barbs, but you can't. They get too big. You'd have to go with smaller cichlids. Even an Oscar would be too big. Go with geos. I love geos. And there's so many different types of geos. You could do like a school of albino hecali, or even just regular hecali. That'd be perfect for a 120. David, nice. If you build it, shoot me some pictures on Instagram or Facebook or something. I'd love to check out your build. I like it because people always reach out to me and try to... a lot of people just want to ask questions, but I really just want to see the build. So I always ask people to send me what they're doing. Gives me ideas too. Wow, I can't believe we got 40 people in here on a random Tuesday. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining. Hopefully it's not just too boring. Jay, thanks, man. I do too. I try to watch them for hours, but I don't always get as much time as I'd like. No, I don't have any UV light for the Fly River. The puffer is a Maboo. Estimated yearly cost to run that. Ooh. You mean just like water and electricity? I don't know. That's very difficult for me to break down because I have a bunch of other things going on other than just this tank. It would be really hard for me to figure that out. Maybe $100 a month. I could be way off. Yeah, water and electricity, I would say maybe $100 a month. The two in the winter are a little under $400 each. So $800 a month, approximately. More like $750 a month for the two. And like I said, in the winter, the electricity bill goes up a little bit. So we drop almost $100 a month in electricity in the summer. Food bill a month. I was talking about this earlier. Maybe $100 a week. I don't know. Could be more sometimes. Have to ask my wife. She does most of the shopping. I just tell her to grab bags of shrimp and tilapia. She doesn't think much of it. And then I stock up on like dry foods. I just try to have a lot of different dry foods at all times. And I buy like spirulina wafers in bulk, even though these get really expensive. If you buy 10-pound bags, they last you a while. It doesn't feel quite as bad as spending like $20 a week or something on spirulina wafers. Buy stuff in bulk and like come up with some kind of feeding schedule that keeps the fish full but doesn't break your wallet and doesn't destroy your water quality. Biggest fish? Good question. Oh, we never even checked out Pinky. That's my bad. Pinky? Biggest fish. I would say it's the gator because he's like 3 foot long now. I think it's the gator. These iridescent sharks are pretty big too, but I think it's the gator. Although this hybrid is like 30 inches long, so I don't know. That one's close, but I think the gator's got to beat, and then maybe the hybrid next, and then maybe the short body. It's hiding in the corner over there. The short body redtail might be the next runner-up. We'll go back and give Pinky some attention before I sign off. Let's feed him. He's asking so nicely. Oh, did I scare you? Yeah, I scared him with the lid. No idea how big he is. Pinky is a giant gourami. We call these ones the pinks or albino. Stingray Biogenics Canada. Yeah, no problem, man. I was happy to do it, honestly. It's a cool experience for me. It is stressful, I'm not gonna lie. It is a big stress, and after I did it, I was like, ugh, this is a very large responsibility that I simply don't want to have, if I'm gonna be honest. But I'm happy that I did it. And again, it's really just, I knew it would help them out a lot. And it was very cool that they trusted me. That was an honor that they would even ask me. So they felt that they could even, you know, use me in any way. So more than happy to help out. And I mean, it ain't every day you get to see rays this big. So I mean, I cannot complain about being able to watch them. This is an awesome breeding group. I mean, this is a once-in-a-lifetime breeding group that most people would never get to keep, so. Let's see, I got Pinky, it was like 8 inches. I want to say 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I'll say 4 years, so I don't know how old he was at 8 inches. I would say maybe he was a year old or something. Maybe 5, 6 tops. And you're not going to see because he's not going to stop looking at me. But this is a 24-inch wide tank. And when he lines up, he comes to about here. So he's probably 22 inches, something like that. He's way too big for this tank, that's for sure. But way too aggressive to go anywhere else. Yeah, it'd be great if some pups, you know, came out of it or whatever. I don't even need to keep them, you know. It would just be a cool experience for me. If Kevin wants to give me some pups that came out of it, that'd be awesome. Canadian Perspective, happy to see you're still alive. Thanks, man. Thank you, guys. All the way from Canada. Scott, next video. Yeah, I don't know. This was my way of making up for not doing one in a while. So, I don't know. This was a way for me to kind of easily, lazily not have to edit a video, but give you guys a little bit of content anyway. Show you guys I'm still alive. But I'm not sure. I don't want to commit to anything. I keep saying I'll do another one, but there's always something better to do. Paul, yeah, I hope that the place they get works out for them. I know they were having some problems getting some permits, so I hope that place does end up working out for them. How is the house project? It's good. Finally kind of in like the finishing stages where there isn't a ton left to do. There isn't, you know, it's little things now, little finish work and stuff, and it's relieving because it's coming along nice. So maybe another month of that, month or two tops, and I can move on from that house. But yeah, thank you for asking. It is going well. There's always work, but keeps me busy still. But yeah, it is slowing down, which is nice. What kind of gar is that? This is a long nose gar with a bent snout, and that's an alligator gar, a platinum alligator gar, leucistic. Shauna Gregory, hello. Yeah, I want them to be successful too. There aren't, I know people give them a hard time. They got a lot of haters sometimes. I mean, obviously a lot more fans than haters, but it's very hard to find good quality sellers like both of them, Stingray Biology and Predatory Fins. And you can get, you know, bad fish stories from any seller. But man, they are really good, high quality fish stores, and I wish people, some people would give them more credit. Give them credit where credit's due. So I really do want to see them continue to succeed. And they put out good information. They help educate the public about a lot of different types of fish. So I really do want to see them succeed. Yeah, Brian, the platinum alligator gars are really expensive, yes. And that's probably why I don't have 3 of them. But of course I shouldn't have 3 of them, but one of the biggest reasons I don't is because they're so expensive. You asked for it, you got it. Here he is. He thinks I'm gonna feed him now. It's Nitro. Yeah, he thinks I'm gonna feed him. Yeah, I hear you guys got some good fish stores in New York, though. 1K is about the going rate, so that doesn't sound expensive. That sounds pretty average. That's good. Even at like really small size, that sounds about average. Yeah, Nitro is really cute. I love this little guy. He's always begging for food. And he's trying to bite nothing. I fed him today already, too. I'll have to give him more just because he begs so nicely. Dimensions. Frickin' flickin'. Hey, we're editing for the family content, right? Either way it works. Dimensions of the 1100. It's 10 foot long. It's a little over 6 foot wide front to back. And it's 43 inches tall. So a little bit under 4 foot tall. Somebody asked about the Fly River. Paul. Fly River is over here now. I moved him here because he was beefing pretty bad with the short body red tail. They were not getting along. And I was having a harder time getting him food because of all the fish in the rays. I also don't like keeping the turtles with rays, so this was a good way for me to kind of isolate him with fish that can't hurt him and feed him better. So he's over here now. But he does a lot of this, swimming into the back wall. Oh, river turtle, were you asking about Nitro? No, Nitro is a Chinese soft shell, an albino Chinese soft shell. I thought you meant fly river turtle and you wanted to see the turtle. That's my bad. Sure, I started off with the 300 over here. Here's Wasabi. I probably shouldn't even ask, but I had a local, a really good fish keeper that is really interested in taking Wasabi. So I was thinking about selling Wasabi to him. He's got a really good setup for him. Might be able to give him a little bit more attention than I can. They're such personable fish, and I think that they need a lot of attention. So sometimes I kind of feel bad that I can't give everything, like spend enough time here in front with him and, you know, give him the attention he deserves. So I've been debating selling, although I never committed to it because I really don't want to. I want to keep him, but yeah, 300, 400, whatever. I'll take it. Let's call it a 400. Sounds good to me, actually. Real talk, I would love to upgrade this tank to a 400, something wider. Someday I might do that. If I can find a good footprint, like an 8-foot by 3-foot, or even an 8-foot by 30-inch, I would consider, if I get some extra water volume. Yeah, I know. He's such a cool puffer. It's tough to think about parting with him, honestly, but the other thing is like he started kind of biting fish occasionally. Like he's taken some chunks out of a few different fish, and luckily they've survived. But it's kind of one of those things like, yeah, it's only a matter of time. I don't think he's being aggressive. He's just, sometimes he going for food or whatever, or thinks it's food real quick and just shoots at it to try to eat it. The ray and the gar that I rescued, they're both great. So this is, I assume you're talking about the ones from New York. This is the female that I got from him. That was, he had the plywood tank, the 4x8 plywood tank that he grew these guys out in. I give him a lot of credit. He did a great job on that tank, and he did a great job keeping the fish because they were all healthy and huge. So this is the female. She is absolutely massive, and you see that she compares to Kevin's rays in size. So she is a beast. And then the gar that I got from him is right here. This is the Florida gar. Doing great. I'd love to keep him with all the other gar, but I got like weird size issues. Like he's like a medium-sized fish. He can't be with them. He'll definitely get eaten. But then he can't be like with these gar because he's just a little too big. So, although I could almost put him in here. I don't know. Maybe I will move him over here. But I got to be careful either way. Oh, and how much did it cost to build? I did a video breaking down the costs on these tanks. I think I called it "How much does it cost?" or something like that. I think I've done a couple videos on it, but about $2,000 to sum it up. This one was about $2,000, and then this one was a little bit more. It was like $2,500, but I took a couple extra steps with going a little overboard with it to make me feel a little bit better about it, and that's why it costs a little bit more. Plus, lumber prices had started going up right when I started building this, so they weren't at their peak, luckily, but they had risen since like a year or so before when I had built this. So yeah, this one was a little bit more expensive, around $2,500. There are ways to get out of it cheaper, obviously, but yeah, $2,000 for this one, not including filtration. That's this whole other thing. It could never be duplicated. I just made do with a tank that I already had and the plumbing and stuff. It's not including filtration whatsoever. Nope, never kept any jags. It's an aggressive cichlid. It would be a huge pain for me to try to keep. What did I did have a Taigamoda, though, for a while. That did pretty well. That did pretty well, but eventually did get too aggressive and started trying to eat stuff. Yeah, it might turn out to be like Lavanka, but I don't think gonna be quite that bad. She's nasty. She's got some attitude to her. Indoor koi pond? No, but I am considering an outdoor. I really do want to do an outdoor. But again, there's just always better things to do. If I ever get to where I want to in life, I will have an outdoor koi pond eventually. Monster Nano Tank. You know, if I ever did it, it wouldn't be for me. It would just be for like people like you that ask, because a lot of people really want to see that. I know that that's what people are into, but it's just not my thing really. There's also filtration challenges, depending on how small the fish are. But I'm gonna say probably not ever. I probably won't ever do it. I could always turn something like this into a smaller fish, but not nano. I mean, when you say nano, are you really talking nano? Are we talking like neon tetra nano, like guppy nano? Because if so, then probably not. Where's the fish? Oh, you got paddlefish? Yeah, man, I'd definitely like to check that out. That's 2 males right there, going at it. Mine's like, get out of here. Get out of my face. If I ever had an emergency leak of the big plywood tank, I would move the fish to the other big plywood tank. That's half of the reason why I built a second one. I would find a way to make it work. Like, I could take a lot of the smaller stuff out of here, put it into there, cram it into there, and then I could move all the big stuff into here. Again, it would have to be like an ultra emergency. I also have a backup Intex pool that I could, in theory, set up if I absolutely needed to. I've never kept true spotted gar. No, it's because they're really rare. Trying to find a spotted gar is very difficult. I would love to add one to the collection, though. If I can find them, I would totally keep some spotteds. Problem is, they are way rarer than people truly understand. If you're asking, though, you probably know how rare they are. If I did have a leak, though, I'd still be screwed. Like, there's no way around that. Even just moving them into the 1100 would probably be a disaster. It would have to be super temporary. Yeah, Guppies, Tetras for the nano tank. Yeah, just so small. So, like, even if I wanted to put them in the 600, like, you'd have to worry about them getting sucked up into filtration because you're trying to turn over a lot of water. I guess I could filter it different. Could switch it over to like all sponges or something, or do different screens to help keep them from getting anywhere close to getting sucked in or something. But there's ways to do it. There's definitely ways to do it. I'm just complaining because I don't want to do it. 10,000 guppies in the tank, yeah. Although, like, guppies have really bad genetics, so I don't know. I've found guppies difficult to keep. At least the stuff that I've gotten locally. Could just be my water. Ah, the Firereel question again. Yeah, somebody asked me that earlier. I have, and I've had a few people offer me some big ones, but I'm not quite ready to just take one. I don't even know where I would put it, to be honest. Like, if it's big, then I'd have a hard time quarantining it, and if it's small, then I got no place to put it. So, and they're slow growing, so for me to ever have another 3-footer, it would be would take years. "14 years, great success, man. Nice job. 14 years of keeping any fish alive is a great success." I've got monster fish from Global. They're a great seller. But I don't really just stick to one place. I'll buy from almost anybody if they have what I want, for the most part. Or if I feel that it's a good price and it's what I want, I'll buy from pretty much anywhere. But yeah, Global is great. I've bought from them multiple times. This guy is from Global, actually. Tell Ryan I said hi. Do you have the room to build another tank? Ah, the ultimate question. Could I figure out a way to make room? Probably. I have a plan, but it won't be down here. I'll say that. And I don't know how long it'll take. So, it's not happening anytime soon. But I do have a plan. Paul, yes, exactly. There is always room. Seems like every 2 years, though, I gotta make more room, because everything just keeps getting bigger, so I'll end up needing to do it sooner or later. Yeah, actually, Jay, it's funny you say that, because I've been wanting to turn half of the upstairs bathroom into the laundry room anyway. It'd be way more convenient for laundry, and it would give me more space down here. So yeah, I've talked about that with my wife and considered doing it. It's not that much work, so I might end up doing that eventually. Yeah, Paul, it's funny he said it, but us crazy fish keepers will think of that stuff. But it's not going to give me a big tank. It's really not. It would give me another, like, small tank. You know? Unless I took this whole corner, but that would be inconvenient for the room, so I probably wouldn't do that. Look, now this giraffe cat is chasing around the Vija, too. This guy is a pain. I didn't realize they were so aggressive. But alright guys, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you all for joining me. That was pretty awesome on a Tuesday night, and it was super random. But again, I don't have to edit this, so it's kind of nice. But I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Thanks for talking to me. And I will see you guys in the next video. Hopefully it'll be soon.